definitely seen some changes from then to now, and a lot of the sites are for the better.
A lot of people don't consider Atlantic City part of the Jersey Shore, and that's because it's just so big with nightlife. There's plenty of things to do up and down the shore, but Atlantic City is a definite must-stop when you're staying.
Not so many years ago, this eastern seashore city with its spectacular skyline was an obscure little fishing village. Today, Atlantic City stands preeminent among the great resorts of the world.
I work at Steel Pier Helicopters off the Steel Pier in Atlantic City on the boardwalk. I literally and figuratively give people a different vantage point of Atlantic City as a shore town.
From this vantage point, Atlantic City's spectacular skyline stretches out in all its grandeur.
Atlantic City still has an impressive skyline greeting its nearly 35 million annual tourists. But back as far as the 20s and 30s, visitors to Steel Pier Amusements certainly weren't able to buy a ticket on a helicopter ride and see it quite so up close and personal. They were, however, lucky enough to see a horse jumping into the ocean from a diving board. Well, at least animal rights activists are glad to know that the wow factor attractions of Steel Pier have evolved from the era now popularized in HBO's Boardwalk Empire, as has the face of AC's overall shoreline, thanks to the 1970s rise and more recent resurgence of the 11 mega casino resorts located here, which together have over 17,000 rooms.
I love how Atlantic City offers all the normal shore things, but has that bigger, wider range to make it its own thing. Atlantic City, when it hits nights, you have the clubs and the casinos, and it drives in a much wider range of people.
Visitors to Atlantic City come from every state and from many foreign countries.
We'll have, a few kids that come off the beach, and then next we have some, high roller gamblers coming in, and then we have Hindu grandparents that don't even speak English. And this is what makes the Jersey Shore as a whole so great.
You know, it may seem odd that Atlantic City is left out of most Jersey Shore love fests, considering its start in the 1850s as one of the first vacation destinations on the eastern seaboard. Let's check its shore town stats. For starters, AC's got an awesome 5-mile boardwalk on the beach. In fact, the shore's first boardwalk was built in Atlantic City. And as far as great amusement piers go, Steel Pier first opened in 1898 and rocks without even getting into the helicopter ride. There's plenty of picturesque beach, and Atlantic City is the home of a uniquely tasty treat that's been a favorite for generations. Sounds like the shore to me.
Can't talk about the Jersey Shore without talking about saltwater taffy. Saltwater taffy was started in Atlantic City in 1880 by the James Saltwater Taffy Company.
Thank you so much. I used to get this all the time at Coney Island, and now they don't sell it anymore, so I'm glad I found this here.
We've been here since 1880.
I'm the 4th generation of my family in the candy industry. I grew up in this factory. I've been making taffy since I was a little boy.
Through the years, the popularity of a shore must-get treat will sometimes change. For every cotton candy then, there's a fried Oreo now to take its place. But James's saltwater taffy has stood the test of time. The biggest difference is not in the taffy itself, but how quickly it gets out the door to the throngs who come to the shore looking for it. That's a good problem to have.
People from every part of the world come here to visit Atlantic City, and of course they have to go home with a box of saltwater taffy.
Along with being an institution in its own right, James's Saltwater Taffy helps support the growth of another historic and colorful Atlantic City institution back in the roaring 20s, the crowning of Miss America. And while that crowning now takes place in Las Vegas, the legendary competition will forever be a part of Atlantic City's story.
Once each year, the eyes of the nation focus on the Miss America pageant, which is inaugurated with a colorful parade down the 7-mile boardwalk.
The Miss America pageant, of course, was one of the traditions here in Atlantic City, and the James Saltwater Taffy Company was the oldest participant in the parade. And we always used to pride ourselves that the taffy girls on our floats were always the prettiest in the parade.
James's Taffy Girls were a perfect example of what has made Atlantic City stand out for over a century from the otherwise quaint vibe shared by the larger Jersey Shore community. It's always been just a little bigger and more colorful. Whether it's the towering casinos of today or yesteryear's beautiful bombshells of the Miss America contest, which started in 1921. That year, the first ever winner took home a 3-foot Golden Mermaid trophy.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, 9 stone 2 of slender youth.
And speaking of taking home a Golden Mermaid...
Hi, my name's Katie. I'm the resident mermaid for Tropicana in Atlantic City. Jersey, a couple minutes outside Atlantic City, and this is by far the nightlife capital of the East Coast. I mean, there's always something to do.
No matter where you go, you will find no other city that offers such a variety of accommodations and such an endless list of things to do.
A lot of people don't consider Atlantic City part of the Jersey Shore. It's just so big with nightlife that it's not so much with the relaxed style of the shore. It brings a lot of excitement to it that you don't necessarily think of.
The very name Atlantic City suggests wholesome play.
And for me, as a mermaid, this is the only place I'd want to be taken out on a date. Buy me a nice pearl necklace, some jewelry, a bouquet of seaweed.
She likes men for their brains and says she'd even marry a midget if he were a mental giant.
Between the saltwater taffy, the boardwalk, the beach, all the amenities, there's plenty of things to do up and down the shore, but Atlantic City is a definite must-stop when you're sick.
Moving up the Parkway in New Jersey, get a ticket to Funtown and ride along with a local family who's seen the shore change from one little food stand to a typhoon of excitement.